Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast number 344. Self-doubt is brutal. How are you folks doing? Boy, another great week. Got lots of killer stuff going on here at the ranch. Things are turning green. We got birds nesting and birds coming in. Our evening grosbeaks have come in by the hundreds, which is so cool. Watching the sea feeders go down like the old gas gauge on my 71 Camaro is kind of fun to see. Hope you're having and experiencing the same kind of great spring wherever you are, and you're out there with your camera making some great clicks. As you do, remember to share those photographs. We're a very fortunate group that we get to go out and do what we get to do. A lot of people aren't so fortunate. Some people have no clue what's going on out there in our beautiful wild heritage. Share those images online, in books, on magazines, on prints. You can change the world with your photographs. Hey, this is going to be another podcast recorded with Adobe Beta. At the same time, on the blog post for this podcast, you'll find the transcript. It's both there for you to listen and read, share if you'd like. And I do appreciate all the support you guys keep throwing my direction. Speaking of support, Bedford's Camera, oh man, this last week, they have again set the bar really high when it comes to my expectations. They're a dealer for Benro tripods. Benro's got quite a bit of notice lately with their self-leveling tripod Kickstarter, they call it. Yeah. Well, they've got some other stuff out there that, and I just got the very first one in the country, the Benro Mammoth tripod with their wildlife head. As you might imagine, I have seen a tripod or two in my time, as well as heads, and I'm here to tell you, none are like this. You're going to hear more about this as time goes on, but wow, that wildlife head and that tripod, what a rig. Lightest I've ever had for my big glass, most stable I've ever had, and the most important, most and best flexibility for stills and video. And I would have known nothing about this if the folks at Bedford's weren't on top of all this innovation and so willing to share it. That's there for you too. They have all those stores, phone numbers, and of course, they're the home of the Moose 5% discount. You need advice, you need to know about new gear, you need gear in your kit, you just want to talk photography. Bedfords.com, folks. Thanks for supporting the Moose Podcast. All right, let's get right into this podcast, which comes from a number of conversations since New Year's, quite a few. I have noted here it's over 40, and self-doubt. It is brutal. There's no doubt about it. You know, for myself personally, yeah, self-doubt, yeah, it's in there. Just put me in a room with people, yeah, and I am. It's like, yeah, I don't think I have much to offer. So I'm really quiet. So when things are going really great, when they're really going great, I get concerned. And that's part of that self-doubt, right? There's no doubt to it. And then when things are going not so great, I tend to get really motivated. Then always like, well, isn't that kind of ass backwards? But then self-doubt, right? And when things are good, things are just good and steady, boy, I get really complacent. And that's death. That's just death for a business, death for a creative. So what is it about creatives that make us reflect so much on what we've done, what we've not done, what we want to do, what we could do, what we will do? I mean, have you ever wondered that perhaps that self-doubt is kind of essential in being a storyteller? I mean, I know I could do better today than I did yesterday. With that knowledge, and that's true for everybody, it's not just me, we all have that same capability. But with that said, why does self-doubt creep in? Well, I've actually been doing some reading and some research and really kind of, as I sit behind that lens and I'm watching the birds and I'm waiting for my house wren has just shown up and it's just thinking about bringing in nesting materials. So it brings it in once every 2 hours or so as it tries to bring in attract more wrens to the yard. So I have a lot of time there just like pondering. And why do we have self-doubt? Especially, and this is true for all of us, every single one of us, I guarantee that if I went to your files, I could find at least a dozen killer great images. I bet I could, without even really working hard at it. And I'm sure it's a lot more. Yet, we still have self-doubt. Now, part of it, and the studies have shown that what we see on the internet, not the internet again, is creating a lot of self-doubt in all sectors of life, not just creatives, not just photographers. Now, one of the things I was reading, and I was like, I thought this, but never said it out loud. One of the things I was reading is that most photographers look at what they see on the web, and I'm talking here just about critters, that they see these frame-filling subjects, and they don't get those same frame-filling subjects, and that starts to self-doubt. Most don't realize that, and I should have written it down, but the percentage is over 50%. Of the images that you see on the web are cropped to, quote them, highly cropped. In other words, they're photographs I wouldn't post because I don't crop. I just don't do that in post. It's just, for so many reasons, but it's that credibility with my clients that instilled that and is still there today. But you don't know, unless you take time to look at it, to realize that that image is cropped to highly cropped. So you might be saying right off the bat when you see the photograph, wow, what am I doing wrong? I'm not coming back with images like that. Do I need to buy bigger lenses? Yeah, that's one of the things that instantly comes to people's mind. Bigger image size is, directly related to longer focal length. That's not the case. Zoom with your feet. An article back in the early 90s, an outdoor photographer. Go check it out. Zoom with your feet. The author, Moa, it still says the same thing. Getting close physically and using optics to isolate is going to always render the best possible image that you can take. Doesn't mean you have to have a 4, a 5, a 6, a 8, or 1200 millimeter lens with teleconverters, high-speed crop. Image size does not dictate, nor does it mandate, nor guarantee a great image. Yet, people see those images on the web and they associate that, and that starts the self-doubt. Okay? So, how do you perhaps one way to battle the self-doubt issue? Don't believe everything you see on the web. Whoa! Heard the earth shake on that one. Yeah. Don't believe all you see. I mentioned last week that geographic piece on AI and, 13 milliseconds it takes the eye to see a fake. Problem is, when something's cropped, if you really aren't into, and why would you be, into that process and in the business of photography, you wouldn't see some of the telltale signs, and it's not like I can give you a class on it. It comes with time. So, enjoy that piece of, let's call it time, but then take that and put it into your quiver and say, okay, this piece of biology that I see that I really like, that's cropped to highly cropped, does happen out there in nature. How can I take that photograph, and I'm going to say the word correctly, because I'm from the generation where not everybody wins a trophy, you know? So I'm going to say we're going to take that photograph correctly in the viewfinder and share that. What does it take to turn around that self-doubt, saying, I don't have that, to saying, okay, how can I go and get that photograph correctly? There are, and I'm not throwing darts or rocks in a glass house at any of this. We all have to find what it is that brings us is satisfaction, and not just satisfaction, but enjoyment. Not just enjoyment, but keeps our passion lit when it comes to photography. You just have to understand that in this process, self-doubt is kind of like in our back pocket, right? It's along with Murphy, I think, sometimes. There's a couple of really famous photographers out there who do composites. And composites, quick, definitions, you take a whole lot of photographs and you combine them to make one, which, if you think about it, isn't too far from AI, is it? Thought, think, gears burning. Anyway, if you're not aware of those photographers' skills, and they are incredibly skillful, because the one thing they do about their composites that most photographers totally miss is they understand light, which is why their composites are so engaging and, of course, commercially viable, is they understand light. Most photographers don't understand light, so then they go and they do a composite, and it's like, yeah, we don't have 2 suns, we don't have 7 suns, okay? The other things, forget the technical blending with the computer, which is really simple compared to when I started. We're talking about light. So if your eye can see stuff in 13 milliseconds, then you should be able to start seeing that light. And if you can start seeing light and chase that light, self-doubt, which is so brutal, should start to fade away. Now, one of the emails I had about self-doubt, the person said point blank, Moose, you sound like you always are on top of your game. Well, guess I got that illusion going really well, because that's not the case. Self-doubt, yeah, it creeps in. It creeps in sometimes really hard when I know I can do better and I haven't. I mean, I know I can do better today than I did yesterday, but I have to go do it, right? I can't just know that. I've got to do that. And there's times I don't. It doesn't materialize. And self-doubt, yeah, it does creep in. And even, like I mentioned, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, had a monster week. Yeah, this past week, last week, didn't suck either. And then comes a couple days of crickets. And boy, self-doubt is like, what'd I do wrong? Why did I have a great week last week and crickets this week? Next comes the next step, and that has to do with the thing called life. Another article or study that came out, which really kind of blew my wig, was that loneliness after the age of 40, loneliness is worse for your health than smoking 5 packs of cigarette a day. Let that set in for a second. Loneliness after 40 is worse than smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day. Now, that loneliness, that is a part of self-doubt, because that loneliness is why the brain starts to turn away and those gears are cranking and you start thinking about that stuff. So, loneliness, yeah. We never thought that could really affect the photographic process until you think about how many folks are part of photographic communities and forums and camera clubs and go on workshops and adventures. And you look at that number, which is really staggering. I mean, God bless you all for doing all that. That in itself can help with the self-doubt. Now, the one thing that I want to finish with that I remind people about all the time, especially when I'm out shooting with them, is 2 things. My favorite Jon Stewart, quote, "Can't polish a turd," goes along with just because you're there doesn't mean you have to take a photograph. And if you do take the photograph and it sucks and it blows chunks, and I'm a member of that club, keep that in mind. I'm a card-carrying lifetime member of that club. Just when those things happen, the sun will still come up tomorrow. We have the abilities to always make things better. That includes the self-doubt that comes with being creative, that comes with being a visual storyteller, continually wanting to improve on their craft. So it's hard at those times to keep that in mind, but when you're working on your craft and the self-doubt creeps in, remind yourself that you have that self-doubt because you are good at your craft and want to get better. And there's no doubt that that is a great thing. You folks have a marvelous week, and remember to make every click your story.